Hi, Nerdies. It's Dani, and we're with another episode of Chatting with Nerdies. I'm here with the co-owners of Awfully Queer Heroes,
Hi.
Skald and Kel. They make D&D content or they make LGBTQIA focused D&D content. Go.
Indeed.
So
Hi.
how did you? Oh, sorry. Yeah, you guys want to say
hi.
hi?
Hello.
Hey.
So how did you guys meet? How'd you get to know each other? Because you're from two very, very far points, from what I understand.
I call dibs on this one.
Go for it. Have it.
I am on the west coast of the States, and Kel is in the UK. So we actually met through the ttrpg community online on Twitter. So I had my own account going, and then Awfully Queer Heroes was doing its thing, and I'd actually seen repeated posts about the Kickstarter at that time that Kel was running was for the Tower of the Soul, which is the campaign that we actually played through on the podcast. And I kept seeing it come up when I was going through on self-promo Saturday threads and all the various engagement threads that happen kind of on a weekly basis in the community. And it looked really cool. It looked really, really cool. And I was very struck by the concept of it was that, you play as bad guys. You're fighting against the good guys in this one. And I just thought it was super, super interesting. And so I had left a little comment on the post, and, Cal commented back, and it turned into a little bit of a compliment war. And I ended up responding with a GIF, and then Cal responded with a GIF. And this thread starts to get going. And then just keeps going and going. And I feel very bad for whoever's original self-promo Saturday post that was.
Just us.
Because we went back and forth like 15 times. And finally, Kel just said,
it was
look,
closer to 50.
Kel just said, look, we're going to break Twitter. Here's the link to the AQH Discord. Let's move over there so we don't break the Bird app. And then we just got to talking and then just kept talking. And eventually it turned into Kel inviting me to be a player on the podcast, which again was for Tower of the Soul in that initial campaign that I'd been looking at. And so that's where it kind of started. And then from there, it just sort of snowballed. So self-promo Saturdays. That's what can happen.
Get yourself a business partner.
Wow. I just imagine someone hopping out there wow, we've had 200 comments and then half of it is y'all just chatting. I imagine it's just a cute little sneak peek into someone's life, oh, okay, not what I expected, but that's nice.
The funny thing is, it was actually one of my friends, Emil, who I have GIF wars with him as well. So, but we have hug GIF wars. So he'll send me a hug, I'll send him another one, and we just have to keep going until we can't find hug GIFs that we haven't used before. So he was occasionally throwing one in to try and derail the conversation of appreciation messages, and it just got worse. I think he muted us in the end.
I think he gave up. Yeah.
Oh, that is, yes. I love that. This is such a wholesome way to start, though.
And then we were talking back and forth, and I was taking certain medications to try and sleep at night because I couldn't get to sleep. So I would take the medication and then go, I've got an idea, but I can't write it down now because I'm literally about to pass out. Started a voice recording on my phone. I was like, Skald. I'm about to zonk, but there's this really cool idea that I just had. Hey, this is a trap, and this is an adventure, and this is this. 5 minutes later, I'm still rambling, practically falling asleep on my bed or whatever. And then I would send her the message, and in the morning, I'd have multiple replies about it.
It started when we shifted into actually making it a business partner arrangement, and when Kel decided to split AQH. It was after Kel had a really crappy run of migraines. And so I had helped kind of take over and run the Twitter, and it went really well. And Kel was like, hey, do you want to help out with some other stuff too? And I was like, sure. So now we both create the content. I traveled to the UK for this last UK Games convention, the UKGE, and we both were able to man the booth there and sell some books, and it went really well. So yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, got to meet a load of the other creators in the TTRPG community, and such lovely people. One of them, Josh, a very good friend of ours now, is we're just like, great, collaborating on the next X amount of projects. And he was involved in the last one, which was Adventures in ADHD. It was just like, oh, dude, you make character sheets. Will you make one for me? Like, yeah, all right then. It was just like, dude, can I have a cool thing off you? He's like, yeah, have this cool thing. I'm like, great.
So can you tell us a little bit more about Adventures in ADHD? Because I just kind of popped over and like saw a quick glance about it, but like, what's it about? Like, what does it contain? Like, is it a pre-written campaign?
So many things. Do you want this one or shall I?
I can give the specs if you want to take it after that.
Okay, go for it.
It's a short mini campaign. It's for levels 4 to 6. Set in the Feywild, and it's got a whole bunch of, I know it has original spells, but I think it also has monsters, creatures. It has the whole setting, the lore, the backstory, all of it, a whole bunch of quests, all set out for level 4 through 6 roughly, and a bunch of really cool art too. So
oh, you guys really do it all, don't you?
We do. So both of us have ADHD, and there is no there is nothing within D&D that is helpful to people within that have ADHD, or even some of the symptoms of ADHD. And it was kind of bugging me a bit. That was a slip of the tongue. So it came about because someone was like, said some random thing along the lines of what would happen if the Fae stole your attention. I was like, you'd get ADHD, of course. I was like, wait. So there's 20 mini quests. The quest as a whole is a Fae has inherited a domain of delight, but he has ADHD. So he cannot deal with it because like, oh, this needs oh no, that needs fixing, but oh, that's going wrong. Stare at a wall for 20 minutes, which is actually something that I particularly do, and I'll just zone out, and it's an hour later, I'm like, oh dear, that didn't work very well. Right. He gets the procrastination, he gets a lot of different symptoms, and he can't cope. So he is attracted to the party's team, who it's designed for when they've just leveled up. They're bragging, yeah, we did amazing on this quest. And he's attracted to their bragging of how great they are. And he's like, can I have your attention, please? I'm like, yeah, sure, what's up? Which most people would say. And then he's just like, great, thank you very much. But a Fae can't take something without giving something back. So each character will roll against the table, and they themselves have to play out 3 different traits. But then you have, if they don't want to do it that way, there is subclasses which are designed around different traits. So, for example, the rogue can't stay still. If they attack the same target that they attacked on the previous go, they have disadvantage.
Oh.
And they have lower attack rates. If they disengage and move to a new one, they get a bonus and advantage.
Oh.
The paladin, it has 2 different states, and they're triggered between the 2. Involuntary, when they wake up because they're peaceful, they wake up, they're in shield state because they're not attacking anything. So when something comes to attack them, they will be in shield state, which is a defensive thing, so that it has a certain set of spells, it has a certain set of movements, and different mannerisms. But then if, say, a party member falls, they can be triggered into sword state, which has different spells, different triggers, different options. And they can, so it's a way of playing almost 2 completely different characters.
I'm not gonna lie, I might have to hit up my friends and be like, hey guys, if I buy this,
so much fun.
Who's gonna DM?
It's so much fun. One of the things that I really liked about it was the way that 2 things. First of all, it's not structured around a big bad. There's not a big bad you have to defeat, because the whole idea is that it's supposed to be educational. ADHD is something to
ADHD.
It's something to understand, not something to destroy or defeat. And another thing that was cool was to see how many people, playtesters and people going through it, realized, oh wow, I have ADHD, or I suddenly understand my partner who has ADHD and I haven't been able to understand, but now actually playing through it, I do. And then also in the ways that you resolve the quests, because the quests aren't necessarily go out and kill this monster, you think creatively, and they can actually help you come up with strategies to help you manage your own symptoms as well. So, yeah.
So one of my very good friends is a playtester for me on a regular basis, and she messaged me after the second session and said, "I am so thankful you gave this to me. I was really struggling to understand my husband. I have permission to say these things because I'm not sharing who it is, and I did ask her way before we were doing any interviews." She was like, "I was struggling to understand. They weren't having trouble, she just didn't get it." And she was like, "Okay, you're doing the thing. I don't know why you're doing the thing, but you're doing the thing." And by the second session, she was like, "I understand so much more now. He can't help doing the thing. It's just something that happens. Or it's, you must do the thing on some of them." And she was like, I'm so much happier. It makes so much sense. It all clicks together. And it was so nice to be able to hear that even on the very first 2 sessions of playtesting, it had helped someone. So that was amazing. Yeah.
It also sounds really cool because it sounds like there's so many new mechanics that, like, I feel like after you've played D&D for a while, you're like, it's the same old, and it seems very like refreshing to like have something new, but in like the same kind of system that you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
I love D&D, but there are a number of different things that bug me about it. So for an example, in the Tower of the Soul, which we are now playing and was part of the podcast, pardon me, I don't like the healing rules in D&D, so I completely rewrote them. The whole book has brand new healing rules based on where you sleep, how long you sleep for, what the quality of sleep is, if you're injured, and things like that. So I don't want to throw it all in at once because that would essentially be rewriting D&D and it would be a massive undertaking. But doing some per book and some per module and things like that, it makes it easier for people to process and go through. And this one's a lot of fun because it's got every NPC. There's 20 mini quests with an NPC for each. And every single one of them is a unique ADHD trait.
Oh, wow.
And they're exhibiting it to its most extreme. Mm-hmm. So one person can't stop running around, and it's what we refer to, or some people refer to as the zoomies, because you're like, I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do this. You can't stop. So the whole point is to slow her down and get her to be like, hey, calm. You could cast a slow spell on her. You could grapple her, tackle and then grapple. There's different options. Mm-hmm. But it's how are you going to try and role play that? So it's not, I need to punch it. It's, you need to help it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's really cool. And are the mechanics like similar? Or did they kind of overlap in the different like campaigns that you guys write? Or are they just kind of like standalone? You'll like change a few things for this one and...
Mechanics and all that is all standard 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. So
for ADHD
more or less,
it is.
Yes. The tower is a little different, but for the most part, most of the stuff is standard 5e, and then if there's new content, it might be subclasses or spells or something like that, or creatures. But the rules, with some select exceptions, are just standard 5e, which means that you can insert it into any game wherever you wanted to.
Okay.
And the perk of the mini quests is that they don't have to be done in Adventures in ADHD. If someone wants a random side singular quest, they can just pick that out and pop it into their own thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, none of it is... I've never liked writing modules, and now that Skald is on board, we don't write modules that are, this must be run in this exact location. Even the tower, which is a level 1 through 20 campaign, you can just take out a floor. It's really easy. The whole thing is completely modular. And everything we do tries to be that way, with creatures and settings and NPCs that you can just pick up and pop them somewhere else. So that it's drag and drop and make it as easy for GMs as possible.
Mm-hmm. So do you guys have a preference personally about what type of content you like creating, whether it be battle maps, subclasses, spells?
I
You're
do
pretty
love
damn.
battle
I was
maps.
gonna say you're damn good at the map game.
Thank you.
Your map
Thank
game
you.
is on point.
We're both good at maps. I will do a lot of the initial, here is like the basics, and then I'll go, Skald, prettify please. And she spangles it for me. I do love making the locations. I have a habit of I just can't write a small adventure. We have recently been bemusing this of how do we make a small module of something, and I can't. The next one that we've got coming in September is socketed items. It was like great, I can do like 2 or 3 of this and a little bit of that, and it's now twice the size.
It just turns out that way. The nice thing is that
Yeah.
when it comes to actually making content, our strengths and weaknesses tend to balance pretty well. So, for example, I love doing descriptions.
Yes.
I do not mind the number crunching with monster CRs. And I enjoy filling out story and scenario. Kel does some mean tables as far as figuring out mechanics and structuring, as well as like the overall layout of the campaign. And so we kind of balance each other in those ways, and we both sort of work on it to come up with something. I would say for me personally, I think Kel's the battle map pro here, but I really enjoy doing descriptive content for monsters and creatures, as well as making monsters is fun, but also I think coming up with unique settings is also really fun too.
Yeah.
So,
and you're amazing at the descriptions.
Thank
I
you.
would just turn around and be like, there's a creature, it does ouch things. And next thing I know, there's like a 3-paragraph description from Skald going, yeah, it's this. I'm like, okay, it's that.
That's lovely. So, what is one of your favorite things that you've made? Like your like baby, if you will.
That isn't released yet for me. What about you for Skald? I will go into some details because I just want to flail about it. But
well, see, now I'm curious as to which one it is. Is it the Tale of Two?
Yeah,
Or is it?
yeah, it's Tale of Two.
That's gonna be a fun one.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I think of all the ones that we've made so far, or that we are currently working on, that's a really hard question.
Rescue does come real close though.
Yeah, I love Tale of Two because the content is just super fun. The other one, which involves a city that Cal mentioned, the secondary one, Rescue, that one was really fun to work on because it's broken up into these distinct different sections, and it was really fun to play around with the content in each of those, because each section has its own kind of theme, if you will. So
you can give spoilers.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. I love Tale of Two Queens because one, it's really, really gay. There's a gay wedding. There's a gay wedding.
It's gay pirates.
Pirates. So that's just a ton of fun. And then Rescue Rainbow City, I like that one because each section of the city has a different theme, whether it's, all of them are, of course, in our section, because it is a Rainbow City, color-based, but you have different districts, and they all have different specialties, and kind of playing around with the themes in that is really cool. So, for example, like the Green District has a lot more nature and grass, and the houses all have living roofs, and the creatures you encounter are more like treants and plants and stuff like that. So, it was a fun one.
Okay.
Yeah.
For myself, I swing towards Tale of Two Queens over Rescue Rainbow. I love Rescue Rainbow City because the whole thing is a rainbow and it's been taken over by something, which was so much fun to write. Something so incredibly evil. It was great. Trying to pronounce the name, I may have made a mistake in the naming of it being particularly more evil than the creature itself. But I won't go there for now. But the Tale of Two Queens, I loved that because there's a series of steps. You get arrested for being pirates and you have to break out. Then you owe the Pirate Queen, so she needs a quest, which is a test. So you have to go to Very Deadly Island. And this is 17 to 20?
I believe so. Yeah.
Or is it six? Yeah, it's not 16 to 20, it's 17 to 20.
Mhm.
You have to go to a particularly deadly island where we made every single monster, which was so much fun. Making a undead lich dragon turtle is which you can avoid having to fight if you're
Don't
careful.
give it away. No
If you're
spoilers.
careful,
I'm hearing
I'm
is
not.
party pet. That is what I am
There are
hearing
many,
right now.
many amazing party pets, and yeah, we came up with what I personally love as so many amazing options, and we just
Well,
kind of
is-
couldn't stop, could we?
The
We
last
just
part
filmed them.
is the giant gay wedding,
Yes,
and Kel wrote some fantastic like games. So it's not like you actually have to go out and fight something, but for the wedding section of it, you can participate in a whole bunch of ridiculous games, not including but not limited to boat bailing and pig catching.
Greased pig catching,
Yeah.
greased pole fighting. Then I think we wrote a tug of war.
Mhm.
Oh, there's like 12, 15
There's a
games
bunch
that I
there.
put in. There's a drinking game. There's a lot. And I really want to play it.
It's
I
gonna be
really
really
want to
fun.
play it. Yeah.
I've never really thought about like wedding games before, so I think that is really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, you also have to kidnap the queen that's going to get married.
You have to.
I forgot about. Yeah.
You have to. I'm not sure if kidnap
Rescue,
is the right word.
Rescue.
I think rescue is a little more appropriate.
Yeah, it's consenting kidnapping. She wants you to kidnap.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a dodgy. It's a consenting. Yeah, Pilfer a Princess. I think we called that part of it.
Yeah.
It's good fun.
Oh my goodness, that sounds so interesting. I'm hooked right now.
It's a little ways out. That one isn't. Oh, when's that one? It's 2024.
Like
We've got that one. Yeah,
oh
that one's.
wow.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of writing recently.
Wow, you guys seem like you get a lot of good things coming though. It's
Yeah,
should be good.
really
Should be fun.
yeah.
So where do you guys like mainly release things on? Because I know you have like a lot of platforms. You have your Kickstarter, Patreon, website.
We're in the middle of transitioning currently.
Yeah.
And the Adventures in ADHD is the first step for that for us. We are moving our content over to ttrpgs. So currently, as of right now, for people listening to this, the Adventures in ADHD will be available on ttrpg soon-ish.
It's on our website at the moment, though.
Yeah, and on the website, you can find all the previous publications as well as Adventures in ADHD. So I would say for right now, the best place to find all of our content is on the website. And soon the rest of our stuff will get moved over to DriveThruRPG.
Okay. So what made you guys decide to start creating content rather than just like being in a podcast? Or like what made you decide to like go full time working together and like creating D&D content?
I was already creating it when I asked Skald to join me, and it started because the original campaign, the very, very original campaign that Awfully Queer Heroes had, was on Twitch, and the GM wasn't available one week, so we had to scramble because we had nothing available to do on Twitch. And at that point, I wasn't aware that it was perfectly acceptable to say, hey, we're not here this week. We'll be back in a week's time. So I went to one of my friends and went, I have an emergency. Please whip me up something. So he was amazing. That was OD Writes, but he's not on Twitter anymore, unfortunately. I don't quite know where he's managed to, but he was a really good writer. And he whipped me something up in the space of a day. I went, there you go. So I ran it. It was amazing. We had a ton of fun with it. I was like, great, this is probably going to happen again. Can you give me another one? I was paying him and everything. So he did. And then I realized, why am I paying someone when I could probably just do it myself? But I didn't know how to do formatting. I didn't know how to do the artwork. So it was a case of sort of looking around the Twitter sphere, finding different people to work with and going from there. And making it gay. Because at that point, no one was making gay stuff. And I was like, where's all the gay? Yeah. So, yeah, all the gay.
And I think a lot of what's behind Awfully Queer Heroes is putting out content that is LGBTQA. That is what we do. That is what we try to put more representation into gaming. And a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, well D&D's already gay. And it's like,
Yeah,
but
but it's not.
it's not. It's really not, because you have NPCs where, okay, maybe sort of kind of, but
They
there's all
could
these sort of
be.
implied, they could be things. These are no. This character, when you look at this character's NPC sheet,
Yeah.
underneath where it says race and alignment, it is also going to have their gender and sexual identity. And it is not going to be cisgender straight. It's going to be something else. So the whole idea being that it's not suggested, it's not, oh, you can play it that way. It's no, this is queer content. That is what we do. And making queer spells like, Rainbow, Cape of Courage, Rainbow Party, Pride Party, Summon a Protective Lesbian. Yeah.
Summon a mother of a protective LGBTQIA
LGBTQ.
person.
Yeah.
That is so much fun. We have this spell in our campaign, and unfortunately I have been somehow drafted into being the voice of the protective mother of an LGBTQ.
No, that's entirely on you. You volunteered yourself for that one. I'm sorry.
I don't quite know how it happened, but somehow it happened, and now every time this spell is cast, I have to be the one who verbally harasses the enemy and gives them psychic damage.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, a lot of the content creation has been about getting that content out there. And also,
not just in Pride Month.
Oh, gosh, no. All the time.
Everyone else that's doing it that I see, it's only ever in Pride Month.
Yeah. This is all around the clock. All the time.
It's nice to see certain people, when they do it, creating at those points in the year. I love it. I have backed them myself. I'm certainly not going to argue with that. But I don't think it's enough to only do it 1 month a year. We're here the rest of the time. We're getting just as much abuse the rest of the time. We should at least get something good from it.
Yeah. As for the bit about content creation, I would just say, for anyone who's new and getting into it, just to clarify, it is not lucrative. Content creation for tabletop role-playing games, it is not lucrative. I have a job. This is not my job. This is a passion project, because it does take a lot of time. It is a lot of work, and the money that you get back from it, you will be lucky if you just cover expenses. So I have a job. Kel has a job. I'm also still in school. So this is very much something that we do because we love it, not because it's lucrative.
Yeah. The most recent Kickstarter, which was Adventures in ADHD, was the first one I actually broke even. I've been doing this well over a year now. That was my fifth book, and it's the first one that I've broken even on. And I'm fine with that, because I do it because I love it. And I want to get gay content out there to people. But it's not... It takes a lot before you can be profitable.
Mm-hmm.
So don't lose heart if you're not.
Yeah.
If you're starting this out and you're just on the first steps of your first adventure, do keep going. You'll get there. It'll take a while, possibly, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Also, don't quit your day job.
Really, don't quit your day job.
Don't quit your day job.
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of had a question about this. Like, any advice you wish you would have gotten coming into this that you could possibly give to other people who are interested in maybe starting to create content themselves? Or
I think, to piggyback off what I said before, again, like Kel said, only do this if it's something you really love.
Yeah.
Do this because it is something that you love, because it is a lot of work, and because it takes a lot of time to actually begin to see the fruits of your labor. And even then, you'll be lucky if you get there. So hence to keep your day job. But also, the nice thing is that, at least in my experience, the community in the Twitter sphere of TTRPGs is incredibly supportive and kind. Yes. So if you have questions, ask people. 99.9% of the time, people will be happy to tell you. I've asked formatters, I've said, how the heck do you do XYZ? And they're like, oh, just, do this or do that. And so people are usually very, very willing to share their knowledge, share their skills. I've had people, when I first was getting into Twitter, give me advice on, make sure you post on the Self Promo Saturday days and the Whip Wednesday days. Make sure that you are engaging with people. Make sure that you do XYZ. Watch out for this, this, and this. And just being able to have a community that is incredibly supportive. For things that I wish I knew, coming in, the only thing I can think off the top of my head is get everything in writing,
Oh,
because
yes.
you will meet a lot of very talented, very enthusiastic people in the TTRPG sphere. And it's always good to assume the best of people. And people are always like, yeah, let's do this, this, and this. That's cool. That's fun. Get excited. And then draft up a contract. Make sure everyone signs it. Make sure everything is clear and laid out at the end of the day, so that when it comes down to it, after a project has gone through, you don't have issues of haggling over price or people feeling like they've been shortchanged or anything like that. Have the fun, have the enthusiasm. Again, because it's not a fully professional sphere, that line between casual friend and professional business partner can get kind of blurred with the people that you interact with and enlist to help you with stuff. So have the enthusiasm, have the friends, have those engagements, get excited, and get it all down in writing. Make sure it's signed before you go through with a project. That is really, really important.
Yeah. I would purely second everything that Skald just said. I didn't have any mentors, if you will, coming into the TTRPG community, so I struggled a bit. I'm very lucky all the same, because everyone jokes that I have bardic tongue. If I talk to people, or if I'm particularly wanting companies to help AQH with something, I'm just like, hey, I love your shit, it's really cool, can I have some please? And they give us stuff, which is great. And it really helped us grow in the initial stages. But I didn't, to begin with, understand that I need to interact with everyone thing, because it wasn't something I'd ever done before. Excuse me. So now that, going along, learning that on my own, that made a huge difference to everyone I was interacting with. So it is now, I will a couple of times a day just go onto a TTRPG thread, or onto a D&D one or a Pathfinder one, talk to a couple of people, and then I'm off again. The other thing is, yes, it doesn't have to be a legally formatted, fancy printed contract, but even if it's in a Discord channel saying, this person does this person does that, this person is responsible for X, Y, and Z, we all get paid this, this, and this. Do we all agree? Yes, 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 yes. I do that with my friends as well as everyone that I work with. My closest friends, if I work with them, this is laid out in writing just so that we're all covered. I know you're not going to shaft me. I'm not going to shaft you. Let's have it in writing anyway. Just to, cover each other's backs and make sure that no one's going to be upset about things if something goes wrong. Because things can often go wrong and it's no one's fault, but it makes sure that everyone's happy and friendships don't get ruined.
Mm-hmm. So do you guys find yourselves like working with other people and other groups to create content?
All
or
the
is
time.
it something that you...
All the time. And one, it's really good to build those connections within the community. And two, there are things that we, for example, can't do. I'm currently trying to learn Affinity, but we don't have anyone who does our layout, which means that we have to pay someone to do the layout for all of our stuff. So if you have a project that you want to do, my biggest suggestion to you is don't feel limited by what you can do, because there are people out there in the community who have skills. Josh, for example, who we were just talking about, is an amazing artist. He's a fantastic artist. You've got someone like Bogus Cheesecake who does great layout. Really nice guy too. So my recommendation is go ahead and think big and then plan your budget around that, what you might have to pay out someone else to do part of that work for you. But there has not been a single project that AQH has done that hasn't had the input and help of playtesters, artists, content creators. It's really a group effort. And to make something really good, editors. Oh, geez. Yeah. You need other people. You need, if you want to be professional about it, you need to get the work of other people involved too.
And I would say, even though an editor costs, and it is not cheap to have an editor, it is worth it, because you get a level of professionalism behind your work for not having spelling mistakes, grammar errors, poorly worded entire sentences, paragraphs, whatever it may be. And that sticks with people. They remember that they don't have to work out what you're trying to say. And that will make them come back, because it's the difference between, and I mean no disrespect to absolutely anyone here, but I myself have backed and purchased projects off of a number of different mediums. And it has been where I found spelling mistakes, I found grammar errors, I found potentially, I mean, I myself found a DC error in my own
That
book
was
recently.
so funny. DC check, you must succeed 121. I was like,
Yep.
wait a minute. That's all right.
5 read-throughs and I still missed it. Yep.
Yeah. So get an editor. It does pay off.
Yes, again, and that one was edited, so things will easily slip through. But it gives me pause to go back to ones that I know have issues. Because if it's had issues on 1 and or 2, it's probably going to have it on 3 or 4 or 5. So it's worth it to set that really good, look, I've got all my ducks in a row from the get-go, and then you get a good reputation and people will be more willing to have a look at the rest of your works, whether it's free or otherwise. So yeah, that would be mine.
I had like a lot of questions I prepared, but that kind of all went out of my head the moment you guys started talking, and I was like, yes, tell me more. Tell me about the queers.
Sorry. Well, it's like at the moment, there's on our Discord server, I'm actually watching the pings on my other screen, just like ping every couple of seconds, because we've got a couple of new people that have recently joined, and they're like, can we ask you all questions? Do you mind if like I bounce this off you or that off you? And they're just throwing up various different parts of their TTRPGs that they're making, going, I've made this elf. Please tell me what you think. It's like, cool, okay, let's have a look at the stats. Do you want it D&D balanced or do you want it something else? Where are you going with this and what is your rolling system? So they've put all that down. It's like, okay, this might be a bit overpowered, that might be a bit underpowered, but otherwise as a whole, and then just asking other people's opinions on the server as well. It's really nice to see because everyone's just sort of coming through and going, yeah, this part's amazing and that part's amazing. Maybe tweak this a bit or maybe tweak that a bit. And just helping out because they can. And it's also really nice on our server because we have the rule section to come in and then it's please pick your pronouns. And as soon as, shall we say, certain types of people see that, they go, leave server. It's like, okay, goodbye. Thank you for not coming. So it's a nice barrier at the door, shall we say, and it's a very friendly server.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good.
It sounds nice because it also sounds really like active and everyone's just really working with each other. It sounds really lovely. But I'm like, I was like sitting here and I was like, I feel like I've been missing out on the queer content. I was like, I gotta text my DM. It's like, hey, campaign's great, love it, 10 out of 10, but it could be gayer.
Everything could be gayer.
Everything could be gayer. That's one thing too, which I mean, I would say for anyone who's wanting to do content creation is the whole thing behind this is if you see something and you're like, okay, well, something's missing. I want to play X. I can't find this anywhere in the world of D&D. Make it. If you can't find it, make it.
Make it. Mm-hmm.
And because chances are, if you're missing it and you want it, someone else does too. Yeah. So that's a whole thing behind it is, again, that there's so much of D&D that it's like, yeah, okay, well, it could be played as queer, whatever, but we wanted something that was more explicitly, almost aggressively LGBTQA, because there's just not enough of that out there. Yeah. So
someone recently asked us in an interview, do you not think, and I think you may have worded this differently, but it was along the lines of, do you not think that you go overboard with the gay? And this was actually a queer person that asked us, and I looked him dead in the camera because regretfully I couldn't look him dead in the eye. I'm like, no, I don't think we go overboard, because everywhere we look, every single day, straight and heterosexual, honestly, sex is thrusted literally in our faces. You have it on TV shows, you have it on billboards, you have it walking down the street. It might be a mannequin in the store. There's gendered things everywhere, and it's male, female. There's nothing else. It's forced on us constantly, day after day. Where's the flamboyant? Where is the non-binary? Where's the darling? Where's the feather fucking boas?
And then of course you run into the issue where some people say, well, if you do make it that aggressive, don't you think that isn't it about
forcing it?
Total inclusion? And aren't you potentially making someone who, let's say you have a player at the table who is cisgendered and straight, isn't that making them a little uncomfortable? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And that's the whole point, is it's not about, okay, let's all meet in the middle. This is actually pushing back a little and saying, okay, The queers are the ones who've always felt out of place at the table, the ones who always feel odd and uncomfortable, and who this whole situation does not benefit. So rather than being like, okay, let's make it more balanced, it's no, let's actually push a little further, because that's going to help things. Sometimes you have to push a little past that to get to a balance point, which is here. It's okay, let's make it so that everyone who's queer is actually, that's what's normal.
Yeah.
That's what's comfortable. That's what is normalized and familiar and all of that.
This is our happy place.
Yeah.
It's not the medium where we've agreed to meet in the middle. This is our fucking happy place where we're just going to have all the lesbians and the non-binaries and the trans people, and everyone is happy here. And we have an alarming amount, and that's probably due to myself, of asexual folk as well. It's like, oh, they're asexual and they're asexual and they're asexual, and should I stop making asexuals? Yeah.
But it sounds really nice, because rather than creating queer content in the sense of just like token characters, which I feel like is seen a lot in media, like the whole cast is like straight cis people, then you have these 2 gay people over here.
Yeah.
They're side characters.
And chances are one of them's going to die.
Yeah, or something tragic is going to happen to them. Their partner dies, you know. But it's nice to see it in such abundance and have it so normalized, you know.
There was a very long time ago. There was, I think it was actually a fanfic that I read. That's a little bit awkward. But it was about some TV show that was going on in the late 80s, early 90s, where someone had just come out as gay. And in this fanfic, the entire world was on its head. Everyone was gay, and then you had to come out as straight. And I think pretty much that's always stuck with me to a degree, because at that point, I'd only just figured out that I was teeny tiny at that point, what I thought was a lesbian. Yeah, wrong. And that has always stuck with me, because if we said the things to straight people that they say to us, like, oh my God, how do you do it? Or, oh, that's brave. Oh, darling, I couldn't come out as straight. Oh, no. Not my cup of tea. I'm fine. I have a straight friend over there, but no. You do you, darling. You do you. What the fuck? Anyway, so I think this stuck with me, because now I will not write a straight person. I will not do it. There was the very first module that we were involved with. I was working with someone else, and they, I'm going to put this politely, demanded to add 1 token straight. And unfortunately, because it was my first module, I capitulated. But I don't work with them now, and on the very next one, they were like, can I add a straight? I went, no, you can't. This is as gay can be, and I wrote it, and it's staying that way. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not inclusive. I went, no, it's not. This is for the gays. You can
have any other D&D thing and have straight people. If you need it that badly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you can go over there, you know?
He was like, but I want to see myself in this module. I was like, and I want to see myself in every other module, bitch. Fuck off. And they're like, oh, well, no need to be rude. I was like, yes, there is a need to be rude, actually. There is a huge need to be rude. I am not putting straight people in my modules. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not inclusive. I'm like, great. I'm not included in your modules, so why are you included in mine? And that was actually the reason that we ended up not working together on further modules, because they didn't like that it was entirely queer. I went, my company name is awfully... Skald wasn't with us at the time. I was like, my company name is Awfully Queer Fucking Heroes. Do you really think I would call it Awfully Straight Heroes if that was the case? No. But yeah, we ended up not... They were a good formatter. They did original layouts, but I wasn't comfortable having that, because it felt like it was watering it down and pandering to all the others. It's like, no, I want a place for us. I want where we feel safe, you know? So it's a little bit of a passion thing for me. I get a bit angry about it, sorry.
Well, I mean, hey, that's the point. Again, this is the kind of work that you do if you care about it, not because it's lucrative.
Yeah, and I really, really care about making queer as fuck content. I've made races, we've made subclasses. Oh, we need to make pirate subclasses now. We've done nearly 300 spells that are... at least 200 of them are gay. At least. Yeah, and then NPCs coming out of all holes that are gay as all hell. And I love it. I love Waving things. I really must stop doing that. I love Fawkes Roman from
Oh
Adventures.
yeah, Adventures in
He made him
ADHD.
wonderfully flamboyant.
Mm-hmm.
He's a
very spangly
purple-haired, yes, very purple-haired, flamboyant fae. Grand fae? What is he? He's
archfey.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Because I don't know if this is true or not, but this is how I feel. I feel like I'm one of the most out about it members of our party. So I was like, if there's gonna be gay content, I have to be the one to bring it, you know?
Fair.
Like,
yeah.
Love y'all. But I play with a lot of men, and so I'm like, okay, here's my little envy changeling. Or like, oh yes, raging bisexual. I'm going to be, I was like, I feel like I have to bring, like, all of my characters have to be queer in some shape or form in order to bring that representation,
And this isn't to say that straight folk can't play our modules. They can't. It's not to say that they can't, if they choose to pick one up and they go, oh, I don't want to play a bisexual. It isn't that they can't change it themselves. I would prefer that they played what was in the books, but if it makes them more comfortable that half the table do, half the table don't, then at least they're still trying. So as far as I'm concerned, it's unambiguous and there's no question that it's gay as fuck. But how people choose to play it,
what's up to them?
Yeah.
I think y'all pretty much answered most of my questions without even having me to ask them.
We do love rambling, don't we?
But it's great. It's lovely. I love it. I'm here for it. This has been such a great time. So interesting. I just want to sit here and have you guys just word vomit to me like all of your content and be like, yes.
Well, we do have a fun one coming up in September, which is Selenar's Socketed Items. I got fed up of crap in the bag of holding.
Yeah.
Like, how many swords do we have? No, we sold them. We did have at one point like 12 generic swords and then 12 filigree, slightly fancier generic swords. And we just managed to like steal a bucket ton of swords for some reason. I can't remember why. But it was like, these are junk. And unfortunately, we've sold them now, and we're actually overpowered in our current campaign, so I won't use this module there. But it was like, what could we do with them? And we came up with the idea of creating an NPC who takes this generic item, puts a fancy thingamadoodah, which I won't give too much away on, but it puts a thingamadoodah on your generic item. You put a gem in it. It's not generic anymore. It is a magical item that different gems have different properties. It could be on a sword, it could be on a ring, it could be on a necklace, it could be on a pair of glasses, a diadem, or something.
So, for example, one of the examples that I gave was like, let's say I'm a rogue. Our party has no healer, and I'm tired of ending up on my face in every single fight. So I could go and get, let's say, a ring socketed with a specific gem, because I know it's with specific items with specific gems. So a ruby of a certain kind in a ring does something different than a ruby of that same kind in a different item, which like does something different than an emerald in those items as well. So I could get certain items socketed. I could socket one of my daggers so I could have some low-level healing abilities that I could use, and then I could socket something else so maybe I get slightly more HP. And because of the way that it's structured with limits to how many sockets you can have and how much you can do, it keeps the players from becoming overpowered. So it's a nice way to customize your character and sort of spice it up a little bit without it going completely overboard.
And then you can have fun little shopping scenes with their wizards and be like, oh, I gotta go buy things. Oh, me too. Yep. Let's go.
You gotta love some
We're going gem shopping.
Optimization.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, we know that we're going to an ice place. Why don't we see if we buy a generic sword or piece of armor or ring or something, we buy something generic, and then we go get fire stuff installed on it. Or something, if we're going to a nature area, we're going to a forest or a jungle, we might get something that has, I don't know, necrotic damage or something that would particularly hurt plants. If there was plant monsters there, they could imbue their weapons if they had some kind of idea ahead of time where they were going with something that might give them advantage and just tip an overbalanced or misbalanced or deliberately, I'm implying here, battle in their favor, because I would do that every time. Never play one of my monsters, they're evil. Skald has to pull me back constantly. She's like, no, Kel, you're gonna kill like the entire party. I'm like, yes. She's like, no, pull it back.
Most
The
just looking
fine
through and going
line
like,
between good combat and a TPK.
I'm like,
Yep.
cool, looks good, looks interesting. Also, the CR on this is way off.
Yeah, you're about 7 levels too low there, Kel. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm not. Yes. I'm the TPKer. Skald is the brain of reason.
Sometimes.
Most of the time. In fairness, it is true, because the first 3 times that Steph played through the Tower, which one is it?
Tower of the Soul.
Soul. Thank you. The first 3 times she played through that, each session was a TPK. She's like, Kel, it's overpowered. Sorry, fixed it. It'll be better now. No, another TPK. I was like, sorry, fixing it again. I'm just going to take him down by half. There you go. No, Kel, TPK. These were level 20s. We're level 1. I was like, I'm sure they're not level 20s. You got us all dead in like 2 hits. I was like, right, yeah, cool. Okay. Lowering it down.
Yeah.
It was good fun.
Bit of a learning curve, I see.
Yeah. That's what Skald's there for.
Yeah.
I'm just still stuck on the whole queer focus spells. Can I just get a little bit more about that? Because I think that's really interesting.
That's more your area of expertise, Kel, if you want to.
Yeah, oh god, I have so many. They're all focused in different ways. So some are healing ones, like Cape of Courage. That one we use in our current campaign. I love it. Cape of Courage, it doesn't do you a whole lot. It's a cantrip, or is it first level? No, it's a first level. So it does 1d4 healing. Oops.
I'll be right back. I'm so sorry.
Good.
I should actually open up Sapphics while we're here, just so I actually know a couple off the top of my head that are instantly like, hey, there's that one. Seeing as Sapphics is gonna be what's coming up. That's next year, isn't it?
So sorry. We got a package, and my dogs were like, "Whoa, we gotta go get them."
It's absolutely fine. So the gay spells, we have, ironically, we have a Kickstarter in January next year that is 2 different spell books of cantrip to 2nd level and then 3rd to 5th, I think it is, which is 100 spells per book. And one of them, there's a cantrip which is body modification. So a willing creature you touch gains or loses a gender-specific body part. For example, breast tissue could dissolve and the skin reshape to accentuate underlying pectoral muscles. I won't go into the rest of it, but that's an example. We've got, Hateful Respite. This one, you point at a creature within range. If they are hostile to the caster, they make a wisdom save. And it has no effect on queer allies, non-hostile, or charmed creatures. So it's specifically, if someone is being hateful towards you, then they will get hurt and you're safe. Party Rain. This one, I probably shouldn't have made this one, really. Matt is having far too much fun with this in the campaign that we're playing. There's a gif of a 80s looking gentleman with a tash that throws up glitter and goes that gets used by a fair few gay folk. This spell is literally the D&D equivalent of that. You point at a space within range and you make a hand action as flamboyant as possible, and confetti falls over the 10-foot radius centered at that point. So he's constantly going pa-choo and covering us all in glitter. We look very fabulous in the campaign. And they're all kind of going along those lines. There's Rainbow Layer, which is you point at a space, blah, blah, blah. You create a 30 feet long, 5 foot wide spectacle of vibrant waves of light dancing. All the creatures in the space must make a Wisdom 10 saving throw or be hypnotized. So it's like, hey, here's a rainbow. Get hypnotized by it. And there's loads of different ones like that, basically.
Wow. Okay.
So that one's coming out in Make
January?
100 on Kickstarter on January. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's 2 books full of 100 spells in each.
Oh, y'all are really like.
Basically, if you're interested in our stuff, stay tuned because every time we finish a Kickstarter, as soon as it gets sent out, there's going to be another one in the works immediately after. Everything is lined up all the way through 2025. So if you like the stuff, stick around because there's always going to be more.
We've done all the writing. The problem is we don't have the art, we don't have the layout.
We're getting there.
So, yeah, but the Kickstarters are to fund the art and the layout. And while they're going, as soon as we know that we've hit the goal and we're going to get that, we can then go, great, you start this. And most people are agreeing that they'll be paid at the end of the Kickstarter so that we can have everything done and ready to hand it straight over to people. So we've got all that our side of things done. It's needing everyone else. And that's what Kickstarters are for.
Okay, so is Kickstarter a good place for people to go check out like future projects that you guys are going to come out with? And
they'll certainly be on there. They can follow us on Kickstarter, Awfully Queer Heroes, or on Twitter. We scream about what we're doing a fair hefty amount, or on our Discord.
Okay, lovely.
Thank you.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you guys. Thank you for coming out. And yeah, guys, make sure you go check them out. Check out their content. I probably will be. Because I could always use a little more gay in my life, especially a D&D.
Always. But yeah, come say hi. We love to chat.
Yeah.
Don't be shy. Come say hi.
Please do.
All right.
Twitter, Discord, I chat to everyone. We chat to everyone.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess that's about it.
Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you wanting to talk to us.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming out and letting me ask you a bunch of questions. And
Of course.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.